The champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man,
MH.
Yes, he is the DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to this culture that won't shut up and dribble. And here today, we're bringing you back inside of the locker room where we talk about topics in and around the game. MH, are you ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Today, we're going to bring you back inside the locker room and talk about the NBA Summer League that happens like no other. The NBA Summer League in Vegas is where it's at, man. So we've done a couple of episodes on this, man, and it is fitting, right? Because it seems like each and every year we get better at what we do. It went from a time where there were like summer leagues everywhere. Now they're just kind of like a few with a couple of teams. But now, the moniker here is what, 11 days, 76 games, and all 30 teams. Come here to the state, man, and it's a really exciting time, man. So, kind of falling back, man. It makes just really. I want to ask if you're excited, but I think I already know the answer to that.
I am excited. Now, I listened to the show. I wanted a couple of the shows, but it's still number one for me. At that time, previously, when we talked about it initially, I had never been to the Super Bowl, but thank God I got to experience that. But yes, aside from Alicia Keys's, missed note, the first part of the Super Bowl was a great experience. But I don't know. It's funny. I was just talking about this with somebody else today about how she missed a note. She missed a note live.
Uh-huh.
But when it got back to you can play it again on YouTube, they somehow cut that part out, so it looks like she just hits everything. But
flawlessly.
Yeah.
And funny enough, you started one of our summer leagues talking about
somebody else singing. Gosh, I didn't mean to do that on purpose.
And that was not scripted, ladies and gentlemen. This is raw, uncut MH.
Yeah. My apologies to Tevin Campbell as well. I did not mean to include that. But yes, I'm very excited. Still my favorite event. Looking forward to celebrating it. I think it has a little twist this year with the Olympics being the team getting ready for the Olympics also in time around the same time. So excited for all the above.
Nice. And yeah, it is because we've done a couple episodes on it, really. I think the first was just really it coming back, after the kind of COVID things and, it was being adjusted and it was around Olympic time as well. So, but now we're in quote unquote regular times, right? So it's going to be interesting. And you're right. It's definitely awesome to always have, because there's always, whether it's FIBA or some kind of world, the USA team is always here around that time. And, they're performing or having, exhibition games. So it does bring a little bit of more of a draw for them to play these games leading up into it starting. So it starts this year, July 12th. So, when the show drops, we'll be heading to the games. So I'm really excited. The MH and I will be going to opening day. So kind of seeing that fanfare and seeing what's going on. But I'm just wondering, I don't want to come in, glass half full type guy. But this year's kind of the who you're really going to see year. In most years, there's like a couple of names. And we've had a stretch of a couple of names. Hell, even before you moved here, there was like a couple of names that just was kind of like moving the needle. And now we're talking about a second round, 55th draft pick, who is probably who everybody's coming to see.
Yeah, he's on the marquee too, which, if I'm the number one pick in the draft, I would probably feel highly disrespected.
So disrespected.
Zachary, I can't pronounce his last name, but the guy from Atlanta Hawks, he should feel disrespected. But it's really interesting, and I guess that speaks to LeBron's greatness that his offspring is essentially the attraction. The attraction of the summer league this year as a second round pick, second round 55th pick for the Los Angeles Lakers. But I think it worked out perfectly. As there are a lot of Lakers fans across the country, but especially here in Las Vegas. So you're gonna get you're gonna get the numbers and the draws and the eyes of all the Lakers jerseys. You're gonna get a lot of cotton candy and popcorn purchased. A lot of people are gonna be there. They're gonna sell out the house just to see Bronny. I just hope his knee feels good. I know he was having some knee swelling, but I'm sure the NBA is making sure his knee feels well as well. So he should be there.
And I think they set him out of wherever they were at, Sacramento or wherever the other.
Sac. I think Golden State or whatever.
Yep. So they set him out. So I'm like, no, man, you got to rest because this is the show. We need you on deck here.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be interesting, and that's the other difference, right? Like, Bronny seems like he's one that should play in the whole summer league. Like we're not going to pull him.
He needs the reps.
He needs the reps. Mm-hmm. To where other times, I mean, just as last year, Wemby, I think he played the first opening night and maybe
2 games. That was it.
Games. And they pulled him, and that's kind of been the trend. I mean, we were both there when they did that to Zion and and other names. So this looks like it should be a full kind of time frame. But I'm sure, and I don't want to. So I do want to. My opening statement was this is the Summer League LeBron. So I know there's other teams that are going to look to see how their teams perform and see how their draft are. We know that, but just I was stating that in the case of kind of who's the name or who's the person that's bringing you out, this year. And I definitely believe it's, what we're going to call him, Prince James.
Prince James, I like that. It's kind of sounds like what Skip Bayless just trying to call him early in his career, but now it's full fruition.
Full fruition, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how that runs. But he definitely should run full summer league, barring injury and all that other good stuff.
Speaking of summer league, before we get into the next part, LeBron. And we've seen LeBron throughout the years as the classic AAU dad, clapping, on the sideline, watching his sons compete. Shoot, even get into layup lines for whatever reason. We've talked about that a number of times. What is LeBron? He's in the city, obviously, preparing for the Olympics. So he's here. He's a member of the Lakers. He's a teammate of Bronny. What do you see LeBron's interaction with the games being? What's your prediction there?
He's definitely there, right?
He's there.
He's definitely there.
Now Savannah next to him? Or
he may
he's
even
there by himself?
No, he's going to sit on the bench. Like, how sometimes the players go sit on the bench?
Yeah.
Like, he's not really ever done that before, but he's going to be on the bench now. And, this brings up another thing, right, for me, right? This is where we talk about reps. JJ Redick, I need you new head coach. I need you to be getting familiar with these teammates. Like, why are you not coaching? And I know that was something I was going to throw on the live, but, I didn't think it was going to go like that. I thought he was like, I'm going to teach a couple of games, but he's like, it wasn't important for him to be there. Like, he's doing other stuff for the team. That threw me to a little bit to the left. You know what I mean?
Well, in JJ's defense, he said he has to build a staff. I don't know how many assistant coaches they've hired. So maybe he's still doing – maybe he's conducting – we talked about Summer League being like one of the – it's like the NFL draft. Right? Yeah, it's a business thing. You build relationships. So maybe he's out doing interviews at, Aria or something. You don't know.
So, which is one of the spots if you're in town.
Correct.
Nah, he still needs to be on the bench. So we'll see what's going to happen, man. Because I just didn't. That kind of put me the wrong way, man. Like new coach, and you see Udoka and I butchered his name, but the Celtics coach now, right? He cut his chops at Summer League running the teams. You see a lot. Becky Hammond, right? Like she. I think won a title when she was coaching the Spurs to get that, that under her belt and, respect of the whatever, to now becoming a head coach for, our Las Vegas Aces. So it's just kind of weird to okay, man, you're not going to get out there and attempt to put something. And I don't know. It's just it was a little bit off for me. So maybe I'm digging too much into it. I'll let it go.
No, it's a fair point. Charles Lee, who I believe was on the Celtics bench as an assistant coach, just got the job with the Charlotte Hornets. They were playing in California or maybe the Jazz thing. I don't know for a little. He was on the bench, and he's going to be on the bench. That's his first year head coach. He's going to be on coaching, the summer league here in Vegas. So you have a good point. You have at least to kind of get your rotations, how you want to do some things. But we know that JJ's ultimate job is to make sure LeBron James Sr. and Anthony Davis are in good shape. So if they're not playing, then he don't need to be coaching. Maybe that's how he feels.
And maybe that's what it is, right? And then just work on whatever the podcast stuff is afterwards, right? So moving forward, this year, or maybe it's been 20 years. That's how I'll put it. It's been 20 years of the Summer League in Las Vegas, which is like a really crazy dope milestone that, like, there are different locations that host it. We talked about like before it really became, Las Vegas is the place that, all 30 teams came. For it to become a destination and withstand all of the other summer leagues. Orlando used to have one. Utah had one. Like we talked about, there's still some that goes on in Sacramento, and the Warriors had one up in San Francisco. So for it to be 20 years, it's amazing. And like I just, as we do always, research and prepare for the show, they have a documentary out. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a really big miss, like, because I didn't know that until we were doing the prep for this. And the documentary dropped in June. And I'm like, why not drop it like during the fanfare and like, the weekend, and have like, maybe like free popcorn vouchers, if you get to buy a ticket to Summer League to go see it. Or like, hell, you got all these movie theaters, all these cool things that you can do around Summer League. Like Vegas is the place, like if you want to do something, here's where you can do it big, right? Like hockey took their award show to the next level by having it at the Sphere, So why would you not announce it or drop it then? I'm sure there's some great reasons, but I just thought that was a miss for them to have that. And I didn't even ask, did you watch it, or did you check it out?
Funny that you said it. I know it exists. That sounds crazy. And I've seen parts of it. I don't know if I've sat through an entire, the entire duration of the program, but it was kind of cool to see, like, they show like, LeBron and D Wade and, the J.R. Smiths and what the Summer League looked like back in the day and how it's kind of elevated to where it is now. Shout out to them that have taken that vision and really grown it. But I would agree with you. I think to the masses, so to speak, I think there was a missed opportunity there.
Absolutely. So I am going to dig and find out where it's going, because I think it's just on NBA TV or TV like that. So
and maybe that's the reason why too. I don't know.
Another miss.
yeah.
But if you talk about expanding the game, and just kind of sharing, what you and I both believe is just a really amazing event to have in July. Something that brings people to our very hot destination during these summer months and to have a great time. But moving forward, I mentioned we're going on the 12th, man. So what are you looking forward to, like your day one? Because I kind of stated that, but I probably cut you off, and I apologize for that. But what are you looking forward to day one, especially since this is one of your kind of like top primo events with him?
Well, one, I'm looking forward to the Knicks. As you mentioned, I think when we originally talked about Summer League, the Knicks were in a much different spot of success. And now we're going to be 2025 NBA champions, not Summer League champions, NBA champions. So we're in a different spot. But as a Knicks consumer, I'm interested, first of all, in kind of seeing the Knicks draft picks. They got 4 draft picks that will be playing in Summer League. As a fan, I'm interested in seeing that. I'm also interested in, kind of how they move the I guess the tournament per se, or the entire thing, without that big name person. We were in the stands when Zion, the earthquake happened, and we talked about Wemby, and a few years before all them, it was Lonzo Ball, and there's always been kind of like, to your point earlier, like a big name. I don't know if Bronny necessarily carries that draw. So I'm interested how the engagement continues, past the first weekend. Interested in that.
Past the first weekend, That's a big statement, absolutely. And then I think I'm gonna tie in kind of one of the big changes that I've noticed this year. You know me, I always like to what does the dollar say? Where's the money
Yeah,
going?
where's the money at?
A new sponsor this year, right? So, and what I love about the sponsors, the 2K25, right? So their basketball,
Yep.
and then shout out to Asia Wilson being the first female to grace the cover of that. So that's totally dope. But I just love to see that they have as you always say, on brand sponsor to come be a part of that. So I'm really looking forward to like what activations that they would have, right? Like, are they going to be those game terminals where there's kind of preview for it, or like some kind of discounts to win the game, whatever. I just would like to see how they're going to incorporate that new sponsor, because before it's been hotels for the very long time. So it's been the MGM Resorts for a few years. Cosmo had it for a few years. They didn't have a sponsor for a few years. So one, I'm glad to see it's gaining that kind of momentum where they're having like an overall sponsor, and then a sponsor like that, which is more on brand. So excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah, definitely in touch with the young generation. And I think it's very strategic, obviously, who they put on the cover of 2K, with Jason Tatum being a recent champion and Asia Wilson being a back-to-back champion and MVP and local to Las Vegas. So very timely of the inclusion of the 2K sponsorship within that. And they already put the release date out, for September. So it's a good way to engage their fans for the future stars of the league on the court and even virtually. The 2K league, so to speak, has grown in popularity for a while, and to your point, I wonder how they incorporate that element of the esports and gaming community into the summer league, maybe even to draw some more eyes that may not be on the court post the first weekend. So that is very interesting. We'll see.
And like you said, man, that esports component's huge, right? Like a couple of teams have an esports gaming team that they support. I know the Kings, hands down, was one of the first ones. I'm not sure about all of the teams that have them, but I know that was a trend moving forward. And, for them, if they don't, being that Luxor has a state-of-the-art e-gaming arena, and there's a couple of more that's off-site that are off-strip, but for them not to host or do something, like, it doesn't have to be the new game, but just kind of incorporating those gamers into this weekend. Because like the ultimate part of this is you're getting fans to be able to see, all of these stars that they may or may not be able to see in their respective towns all in one place, and just kind of grow the game, which is the ultimate bottom line for most leagues, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right. So you do quick hits on a lot of our shows, and I'm not going to do a full quick hits with you because I'm not going to do you like that. But one of your questions is you always ask for like a Mount Rushmore top five. And I'm not going to do a top five for you, but if you could, give me your top 3 moments for Summer League. And you can give me 5 if you want to, but give me your top 3 all-time NBA Summer League Vegas moments.
Wow. That is it's a good question. Now I know why there's a delay. I would probably say, and I'm probably going to mess it up, so apologies. But number one probably was Zion Williamson off the top of my mind, because I was he was like one of, and maybe I shouldn't say one of the first, but I feel like he just popped out of nowhere, not nowhere, but he was an internet sensation type, right? We was like, dang, who's this high school kid doing these grown man dunks? And we kind of knew about him for a long time. And then he took his career to Duke, and he had all these mythical things that happened to him. He exploded out of one of his shoes and like all those type of things. So I was super excited to see Zion Williamson in person. And he was going against the Knicks. That was a plus on it. And there was an earthquake during the game. They had to stop the game. And he ended Kevin Knox's career, not literally, but Kevin Knox.
He took that ball from that kid that, man.
It was bad. So I think that was I would probably say that was number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is probably Lonzo Ball, starting as I mentioned. in the height of his dad's appearances, I should say.
That's a good.
I think that was the first time, and maybe I'm wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But you know how they have that, I guess that luxury seating that's like above one of the hoops. It's called I don't know what lounge. Forgive me for the.
They're not paying us. You don't have to. Don't even worry about that.
Whatever. So whoever that is that sponsors that lounge, I promise that the first time that lounge launched was that Lakers game that weekend with Lonzo Ball, because I remember LeVar Ball and LiAngelo and LaMelo Ball all sitting up there, and it was kind of exclusive to them. And then every summer after that, now they've put some sponsorship dollars on there, and now there's a piece, it's an elevated experience on that lounge part. So I think that's number 2 for me. Number 3, man, I don't know if I have any moment that spoke more than others. I guess maybe the first time going into the Cox Pavilion was probably be number 3 for me, because I didn't realize how intimate that setting was. And as a sports fan, particularly of the NBA, since I can remember, as long as I could live, seeing somebody like Isaiah Thomas, who might just be working as a play-by-play or, color analyst for the, NBA TV network, and just to see him walk around or just kind of sit right above him in the stands, and he's just like eating the same popcorn that I'm eating. Not that, you know what I mean? Like I just kind of seeing, people that I watched forever and a million documentaries up and close in person, and being able to say hello and not get on their nerves too much. I think they've put a little bit more security in those areas in recent years. But I mean, the first time I experienced it, I was like, I call my dad, I call my little brothers that are really into the sport, and I was like, bro, y'all, we have to make this a trip every year. Like, there's nothing like this. I'm sitting next to Isaiah Thomas, like right here. He's like sitting next to me. Not the Celtics one, like the original, the OG Isaiah Thomas.
The original.
So if I had to say off the spot, that would be my top 3 moments.
Those are dope. And you brought that up, man. So like, what's up with the brothers, man? Like, we need to we did the plea to them the last one. Like, it's kind of, and definitely want to restate that anybody, because part of what we do is, we elevate what's going on in sports. So if you listen to this and you're aspiring and want to be in sports, and if basketball is your lane, you need to find out how to personally get out here. The first week is better, but any of the weeks, right? Like it's it goes on for 11 days. So find a 2-day, 3-day time where you can get out here, because of the events that they have going on, which for me seems like it's a little different. It seems like it's getting maybe a lot more privatized. I think that's one thing that I would say, because before you heard it was more parties and more things where you could, but now it's kind of getting to where, the NFL, NBA, PA, are like siloed, and they have like their track of events. There's another track of events that are doing to help agents and things like that. So you just need to get out here, because these people are going to these games. And if the game is in Cox, you're going to meet someone, because there's only 2 ways to get in and out of that building. It's no other ways to get out. Right. So if you're trying to get someone, you can stand at that door till you meet them. So, and we've met a lot of people. So shout out to a lot of the people. Well, first, rest in peace, Bill Walton. He usually calls some of the games, so RIP to him. He'll be missed this year. But Monica McNutt, we've seen Ed Gill probably will be down with the Pacers. Just so many people that we run into that kind of are part of the pageantry, or just a part of this whole experience. So another call out to the brothers. Come on, Hayes brothers. We need to get you guys out here.
One of these days, man. One of these days. I know. They got some other things moving, but eventually they'll get here.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, wrapping it up, man. Is there anything else that's on your heart and mind that we want to talk about before we let them go and get it, roll into Summer League?
No, it was interesting, and if any of our listeners have a chance to go back and kind of listen to, our first couple of Summer League talks versus now, how quick the sports world changes. And just, I guess that's not just a sports world. I guess it's just life. Like, It is amazing, and it struck me as like, man, you got to be appreciative, for every day that you get to grace the planet, and every day is a new day. And if you're blessed to see it, you should take advantage of it because it just moves so quickly. And it's cool to learn how we've evolved as a unit. It was just like a reminder, like, man, you never know what can happen in those time frames. So to appreciate, it was more of that.
Absolutely. So yeah, run back, man. We had season 2, we had episode 17, and season 3 was episode 13, like we were going through this, like those different perspectives. And you brought up a great kind of what we have been through,
right.
And then just how are things changing and adapting and just getting stronger, man. So like, I guess that adage is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
For sure.
It's definitely one of those things. And then it's funny. Last thing that I have, and then I'll let it go, man. But I didn't know they had, like, it's great, right? Like that they brought this into a competition. So it gives those people that are on the borderline, those G League players, or those people looking to get those 10-day contracts, just to make it onto a practice squad. So it gives them a reason to compete, to win a championship. But I didn't know that they tracked. I didn't know there was an MVP. I didn't know that they were like keeping assists, blocks, rebounds, and like have overall all-time stuff. So maybe that's more of the stuff that'll be in the documentary that I didn't check out. But it's good to see. But I'm gonna pay a little bit more attention. I think it's a little different now. The people that win the MVP now, because it could be your G League star that's really grinding and he's playing the whole time, to where a lot of these superstars aren't playing. So if you look through the dates, and I think we posted in our social, you some of the names early on, and then as it kind of goes on, you're like, who's that? Who's that guy? So that's definitely interesting. And then to see that they keep the champions, right? So all the things that when you win, it's still winning, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
We know that there's levels to it. So winning the summer league is not a direct correlation into the league, but it's a good momentum for the assistant coaches that are trying, the trainers, and everybody that's involved with that player that was on that roster, just to get that legitimate time, either with that or film for the next team. And then, like, the NBA did with the in-season tournament, and like that's now something, right, where you're kind of watching and, it's giving you that fulfillment. So all in all, everything's trending the right way, man. So definitely excited to see it, man. Anything else before we get out of here, MH?
No, great point, man. It's almost like it is a summer league. It's like its own, special part in, the NBA history, for lack of a better term. There's legends that are made within this week and a half here at Summer League, and we may not hear about them afterwards, right? Or we may not hear about them again until the next Summer League when they're playing, for a different team, right? So it is its own unique thing. It's a cool event. I'm excited to see it again. Off subject, bro.
Let's get it.
This is way, way, way off subject. Has nothing to do with this.
It's been a while since you did that, so let's hear it.
It has nothing to do with anything. On the way home, as we were preparing for the show, I wanted to stop by a Chipotle. Now, I could be very wrong. I always thought Chipotle was like, obviously it's fast food, but if there's tiers to fast food, there's Arby's and then there's Chipotle, right? There's tiers to it, right? So I'm coming home, call my wife. I say, hey, I'm going to Chipotle. You, Mayan, you guys want anything? She's like, which one are you going to, on Cactus? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to the Cactus. So she's like, oh, you going to the one on Blue Diamond? And I said, nah, I'm going to the one on Durango. Now, for our listeners that don't know the area, this is all like maybe a 3 to 4 mile triangle radius around. There used to be a moment I thought with Chipotle that although it is fast food, there is some like access points, right? There's like, 1 or 2, you got to stand in line at the one that's across. There's like 2 of them in the city. Now there's like 32 in the city. And the quality of the Chipotle experience has been watered down. And I want to ask you, as a businessman, is it just because there's so many locations? Now I feel almost like it's and I don't want to kill any future sponsors, but it's almost like it's Roberto Tacos at this point. And I'm like, what happened to Chipotle? Where did it fall so far? I don't know. I'm really interested in that.
Well, it's a franchise, so they always have to operate in a certain manner. But like, if the same person doesn't own all the franchises, that could be some of the discrepancies through them, right?
Yeah.
And as far as being oversaturated, man, like they have like how many can be in so many square feet, and if it meets that measurement, because sometimes you don't want to drive the Cactus when you're right there on Blue Diamond.
Bro, this is but that to me that was part of the experience. If I really wanted just to get a Nacho Bel Grande, there's 6 of them on Blue Diamond, right? I can go to the Taco Bell and grab that. But I wanted the Chipotle experience where I stand in line.
An elevated
fast food experience. I went there today, got rice all over the counter. I'm like, bro, what happened? What happened to my experience, man? But it doesn't do that for Starbucks. There's a Starbucks. There's 20 of them on every corner. But I feel I don't drink Starbucks. I don't visit.
Well, now you're getting into some cultish stuff. That's some cultish stuff, right? Like that's
we crossing the line that we don't need to cross.
Yeah, because like Starbucks is a whole that you can't put Starbucks is in the elite category, right? When they talk about service and what they do.
It is.
I mean, yeah. Look, listen to some of the orders, man. We went way off topic, man. This is a whole other show, but. Starbucks, man, you go, people have their order, right? They be like, oh man, can I get a caramel half frap with 2 pumps, no lattes, extra heavy foam, and like that's a thing. And like you can't like just have coffee grounds spilt everywhere when you're taking those kind of orders, right? Like I don't know what you call a server that makes your burrito in Chipotle, but you call them baristas, and so it's like, I think it's an elevated thing with the title, right? You make the people feel special and they'll act special. But when you go in there and you rattling off all those orders, where it's just a little different. I think that's just
shout out to Starbucks. Somehow I don't know. I don't go to Starbucks, so I don't know the experience. Mm-hmm. But somehow there's always a Starbucks, but they have kept their quality and whatever. But maybe it's the order, I've been disappointed with a lot. I went to Chick-fil-A recently. My little girl likes Chick-fil-A. And my man's just looking at me like, what you want to order? I'm like, bruh, you not hustling? This is Popeyes. This is Popeyes customer service. What do you mean?
This is where I say that MH thoughts of his own and does not represent the ideas of Black in Sports. If you would still like to sponsor us or donate to us,
listen, man,
we would.
I've said
it's funny, man. And really, what it comes down to, let's see if I can tie it back to our conversation.
Tie back to it.
You talked about like there's a lot of things that have going on that we've lived through, right? Like Y2K, this pandemic, and like we've talked about this in other points is that since the pandemics, employees, workers have been hard to find, and there's just a different level of want or drive, in that employing matter. And I believe that causes some of the things when you're looking at the kind of hierarchy of fast food restaurant to in-suite dining and things like that, to where that's maybe where some of the quality.
Well, you took it to election year. I just was wondering. Go vote. We're not
rock the vote. Hey, you want better wages, so your rice and beans aren't spilt on the counter. Go to the ballots. No. Keep the Chipotle experience alive.
You're probably right, though. You're probably right. It's just a little bit. It's been on my heart since I went to the Chipotle and didn't have the greatest experience. But
we don't have to. So okay, so now we want to ask you about your summer league experience. But if you've recognized, some downgrades of some of your favorite establishments, please quote and comment on that. We definitely hope you like today's show, man. We got a little extra for you, at no cost. We're definitely going to bring that up on the live show, man. I want to kind of see what the Deus thinks about that. But as always, we drop a new episode every Thursday, so we hope you like this show. Help us, support us, man. If you haven't liked or followed lately, please do that. Share the show with someone else. Find a new listener. Bring them to the squad. But other than that, as always, please stay safe. Practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for for everybody that's black. Look, shoot me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Shoot me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.